Leigh, look, for our audience who don't know you,
Yep.
do you want to do just a brief description of yourself and the company you're actually with as well? So how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so Leigh McBean's my name. I'm Chief Commercial Officer at JustFund. JustFund's a finance company that solves the problem of paying legal fees, essentially family law and in estates. The problem that people face is I'm going through a divorce. I need to pay my lawyer, but all my money's tied up in the house.
Yep.
Or I'm a stay-at-home mum
Yep.
and I can't pay my lawyer because I have no income. Husband's got the income. How do I pay my bills?
Right.
I'll come into money in 6 months or
Yep.
12 months once my divorce is finalized, but I've got to manage between now and then. How do I do that? That's the problem we solve. And so to your question, who am I? I'm a lawyer by trade, family lawyer originally, once was a funder a long time ago in finance. And I really loved doing their work for them. So I've always just been in the industry for about 18 years now, looking after that intersection between finance and law.
What a great solution to a problem that's quite widespread.
It's huge. We hundreds of applications a week coming through the door of real people who need help. And it's, predominantly women. 75% of our client base are women. Actually, primary care providers are children, but it's also husbands. It's people who have good incomes, but their incomes are tied up in the mortgage or school fees. So it's not just asset-rich, cash-poor people. It's people who have got money as well, and they just don't want to keep dipping into their savings to pay their legal fees or borrowing from friends or family, using their credit card. All the traditional options are pretty substandard for people managing a legal dispute. And so we can cut through all of that and go, well, we can see the end result. We can lend to that end result. That end result is that you'll get a divorce and you'll get X and he'll get Y, whatever it might be. We know pretty confidently the amount that you're going to receive. We've got in-house family lawyers, do the assessment, add solutions to people to get there.
So Leigh, in terms, I guess what would happen is you'd actually have like a person who's going through a divorce and they need this facility. Would they go through their lawyer to then come to you? How would that actually work?
Yeah, we're open. We receive applications both ways in the sense that the lawyer can apply on behalf of the client. The client and the lawyer talking, and the client says, oh my gosh, you just gave me a cost estimate of $40,000. How do I manage that? And in that moment, the lawyer says, well, we have an option for you. Give JustFund a call. If they approve you, then they can provide the fundings. The lawyer can apply to us on behalf of the clients, or the client can apply separately via the website. We're introducing a lawyer portal soon that will integrate into our systems from lawyers.
Brilliant.
So both ways. We're very flexible. We just want to support people. And so there's no barrier to application.
Fantastic. And I'm thinking of myself as an ex-accountant myself and that sort of stuff. I imagine it, but I guess clients would go to their accountant and sort of talk about what situation they're in and they've got the lawyer already engaged, but the accountant might be another referral point as well into.
Well, it's actually, absolutely they would be. And it's not an area that we've spent much time on. Yes, we're 4 years into our life and we've spent a lot of time building lawyer relationships. We've got 1,200 law firms across Australia and New Zealand.
Goodness.
Whose clients come through us.
Wow.
But the professional services industry, accountants, financial planners, it's an area that we haven't spent much time in, but it's deeply relevant. If an accountant is talking to a husband or a wife and they're going through a divorce and they're like, well, how do I manage moving forward? They're probably thinking post-divorce, where do we put our funds? Where do we invest? How do we break up the family trust and all those sorts of things? But it's between now and then that's the problem. And I think so if accountants or financial planners, advisors are aware that we exist to solve that problem between now and when they would step in, then it's a valuable service for them to be aware of.
I mean, thinking on the accountants and lawyers side as well, I mean, it means that those guys get paid as well along the way because there's money that's coming through so they can get paid and there's no disputes or interest and things like that on that side of things. It's nice and clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I say we pay for legal fees, but we pay mediators, barristers, accountants fees, professional advisors, the tax, so anyone who's connected to the legal matter that has an invoice to be paid. Normally, if I'm asking my law firm to wait until the house sells in 12 months' time, the divorce is finalized, I'm also asking all these other people to wait as well. And that's no good for anyone's practice, cash flow. I've been speaking a bit about family law, but we also do estates. So same thing, an accountant might be appointed as an executor of a deceased estate. And he's now or she's got bills to pay, filing fees, probate applications, court. They might engage a lawyer as well. They've got to pay insurance on the property of the deceased, maintenance, the garden's getting long. How do I pay all of those bills of the gardener and making sure the pool doesn't go yuck because no one's swimming in it? All these costs that an executor incurs or an accountant incurs in the role of executor. How do they pay that without dipping into their firm's working capital account. Separately, the accountant might just be asked to provide a report on the super fund and the managed investment scheme and, for the estate. And that's an invoice.
Yeah.
They would have to wait for payment. We can make sure they get paid straight away for those things. So, relevant for the accounting profession.
I'm a little bit scared. People sort of like, they say, oh, I've just made the executor of my will and that sort of stuff. But I think a lot of people don't realize what that actually entails and the obligations there. And I clicked just onto what you said then about that.
So yeah, it's a problem because people are appointed, normally it's an adult child, generally speaking, or a close family friend, or it's a trusted advisor like the accountant. Sometimes it's a lawyer. Yeah, with that job of being the executor to look after someone's will and their estate and then administer the estate in accordance with the will to give it to the beneficiaries, there's costs incurred and that's on that person individually. They get reimbursed at the end, but it might be 12 months away or 3 months away. And I've got my own school fees to pay. And where do I get 20 grand from?
Well, particularly if they're high net worth individuals that have actually got like lots and lots of things to maintain and fees to pay and that sort of stuff along the way. And yeah, you're an accountant or lawyer in a practice, you're actually that executor. That's going to put huge strain on their business.
Huge on the cash flow. And then even what if the asset of the estate is a house? It's run down. It needs a building compliance certificate before it can be listed for sale. And it requires $40,000 in repairs to get the certificate. And that accountant's pulling that out of their working capital to pay for that because that's their job as the executor. And so not only is there the deferred fees that they would be waiting for payment on, there's also the outgoings.
Yep.
And so that's hugely, that's pressure on law firms, it's pressure on accountants.
And what's the cost of putting a facility like this all in place? Is there an interest cost? Is there a finance fee cost?
We exist in a world of high stress. And so family law and estates, so death and divorce, vulnerable people, we're not dealing with corporate clients, talking about real mums and dads.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is that we have to be affordable. We cannot be expensive in that environment. Otherwise, people who are already stressed become more stressed. And so we want to take the pressure off them. So to answer your question, interest rate's 9.8. We sit far, far cheaper than unsecured personal loans. We can't be as cheap as a mortgage. So we sit in that range, and there's an establishment fee that is proportionate to the loan size.
What a great facility to have in place. And I'm thinking to myself, anybody at all who actually they get that executive. I mean, I'm just clicking this with the executor thing. Goodness me, you'd want to have this in your back pocket to be able to use if that's the case.
You just want the option, and lots of lawyers might say, "Oh, my clients don't need you; they pay us somehow."
Yeah.
And then I would say, "Well, we're just one of the somehows. Yeah. You borrow from your friends or your family, you throw on your credit card, dip into your savings, borrow from us. We are an option, and a good option at that. But it's an option, so it just improves the quality of the conversation that lawyers will have with their clients in those moments of, oh my gosh, how do I pay? Or I'm too embarrassed to ask. I live in a fancy house, a lot of money. We're wealthy, but I don't have $5,000 a month to pay your fees. And they don't often ask those questions. And so for lawyers to know that we exist, to present the options to all clients, so that clients can make informed choices, super powerful. And just in the back pocket, I mean, the other alternative is, say, on the estates side, I'm appointed executor in my mother's will and I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm grieving. It's all too hard. I renounce. I don't want the job. I want someone else to do it. So it falls on the estate trustee. It falls on the public purse to do. And that's actually quite expensive. So the estate trustee charges a lot of money for taking up that role. And so it actually would be a better outcome for the beneficiaries, who are the ones receiving the estate, to keep that executor in the role, engage a lawyer funded by us. That combination of lawyer plus finance is a cheaper option than the estate trustee taking over the administration, because the beneficiaries ultimately get more in that lawyer-funded option than sending it off to the public system. Plus then the social benefit in keeping things out of the public system as well and not clogging up too much, and keeping the public system for the ones that really need it, as opposed to the ones that could be funded privately. So that's another alternative that hasn't existed until now.
Amazing. I mean, do you think when people are actually when lawyers are doing wills with their clients, that maybe this is an option they should make them aware at that point in time when they're doing the will?
It's certainly, I mean, look, we're in our infancy, and so it's all things to contemplate. And I'd be like, if for lawyers writing a will and, having that conversation with their client to then say, well, the client being the person who will one day be deceased, Have you had the chat with the executor around what their options are to fund and pay for these things? And, you know, let them know that we exist or whatever it might be. So that's like very much a forwards planning approach that, yeah, at the moment we're reacting to people who are, oh, no, I'm now in this spot.
Yeah.
How do I manage?
Yeah.
You asked at the start about the future. This is where the future will move into as well, right? I'm forward thinking for these things. I'm planning for how it will be paid for, how it might be funded, because as soon as I pass away, everything's frozen. So you can't just access my stuff to pay for my bills because it's all frozen.
As an executor of different wills myself, I'm feeling vulnerable, and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's a whole bunch of education for executors that they need to know about what's actually involved and entailed, and know, like, this facility's in place.
I agree. Yeah, exactly right. And so many of our law firms who are multidisciplinary, executor clients, they've got family law clients. And so from a practice perspective, to have the law firm aware that the cash flow can be managed and bills can be paid on time, powerful. Separately for them, like, I'm a mother going through a divorce and it's stressful, and the children, and one less worry about paying fees because be managed. Your example, you're an executor. I feel vulnerable about this moment. How do I meet my obligations to the estate and do it well? An option is available for you across all the different categories of people that find themselves in need. Our services are starting to, like, address those problems.
You've had some pretty amazing growth. I mean, what are you sort of seeing in the marketplace? What's fueling demand, etc.?
Yeah, we've serviced over 5,000 clients now. We have about $150 million out in funded loans to people. That's legal fees into the profession. So we're hundreds of applications a week in family law coming through the system. Trends that we're seeing are a rising complexity of the estate asset, also both estate and family law asset pools. So years ago, house and garden, you know, car, cash, super, house, whether it's in divorce or it's in estate. You know, recently the emergence of more trust structures, corporate entities holding investment vehicles and assets in investment vehicles. And then lately, more complex asset classes and alternative asset classes, cryptocurrency. And so, that level of complexity and the shifting dynamic of what assets are being dealt with adds complexity to the lawyer's role, trying to break all that stuff up and deal with it. So we're seeing just a shift in how and the type of assets that are coming through the system. In Australia, at least, you know, we have an aging demographic. There's going to be a large wealth transfer over the next 20 years. It's generally viewed as $5.5 trillion will be transferred over the next 20 years. So there's a rise in estate disputes and a rise in estate just transaction costs as houses get sold and super funds get distributed and investment portfolios get broken up and split between the children and what have you. You've got this sandwich generation of like adult children today who, you know, probably in their 50s to 60s, who they themselves have kids looking after aging parents and themselves have children. Cost of living crisis across that group. They're mortgage owners, like homeowners, rental shortage, high interest rates, caring above and below themselves, high stress. Their parents' generation, ones with the real estate, super portfolios, unencumbered homes. That's all going to come down to the next level. But that group of people in the middle is super stressed. So there's going to be more tension. So it's just going to be a bubbling up of activity.
I mean, it's an amazing facility you guys have got in place, and I think it makes a huge difference in the community and things. And I guess, you know, hopefully this video brings some awareness to what lawyers can help, how they can help their clients, and I guess as well accountants and lawyers and other folks that can actually help their clients put this. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Most welcome.
Thank you.